Boys and girls, to another edition of Adesope Live, the official Afrobeats Podcast here at the Afro Media Studios in London. I'm Adesope Olajide, your host. This is where we break down the hottest topics in the culture, and once in a while we'll get a superstar guest to join us in the building to break it down. As always, keep subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. We appreciate that. The numbers are going up. Share the gospel with the world as much as you enjoy this, and big shout outs to the entire team, LM Media, and the whole lot. Now, in the studio with me for the first time is a brother right out of Lagos, Nigeria, who has had one of the most incredible couple of years in the music game. A producer, artist, a dancer by all ramifications. Ladies and gentlemen, the hit maker, Rexxie, is in the building. What's going on, brother?
Yes, man.
Listen, I'm going to need you to talk a little bit higher into the mic.
Yeah.
You're looking like money, my brother.
Oh, my
Welcome
God.
to London. How are you doing?
I'm chilled. London is cold, man.
Listen, that's why I'm wearing the jacket myself.
Man. This is the first time I'm wearing a short sleeve, actually.
Listen, congratulations on what an incredible couple of years.
Thank you.
But during the pandemic, especially during the Instagram lives that I saw you do a couple of times, Rexxie's story did not just happen overnight in the last 3 years. Talk to me about the beginnings of Rexxie. Who is Rexxie and how this production thing started?
Rexxie loves music, you know. Rexxie loves music, loves to make music, loves to get creative, you know. So I just see the music industry as my home, you know, where I explore and express myself. So that's music for me. Where
did you catch the bug? You just don't pick up the computer and start knocking beats now. How did it start?
Started from church, you know, playing the keyboard in choir, then playing in the assembly in school. Then you're like, how do these guys make this actual song, you know? Then from there, I took interest in making beats and keyboards and all that. When I came to Lagos, that's when they also started, you know, like, because I saw people trying to be like Wizkid, trying to be like Davido and everybody, you know. So I wanted to be part of that movement. I'm like, I had to lie. And I said I was a producer to some couple of friends.
You're kidding.
And I had to live up to that lie. And yeah, you're Rexxie.
Where were you based before? Where were you born?
I was born in Lagos. I moved to Abuja, you know, to be my aunt for a better life, you know how they say it. And yeah, I came back to Lagos and that's where the hustle started.
For high school?
High school, yeah. Then I came back to university, Yaba Tech.
No way.
And that's where it started.
What did you study at Yaba Tech?
I studied printing technology.
God damn it. So completely different. Listen, man. I studied botany. So we all did something just to get out of university, basically.
Exactly.
But I know, you know, when it comes to music, especially with the music industry in Nigeria, a lot of people had to pick it up from the ground, from running around in the studio, being a studio rat.
I didn't get that chance.
No way.
I was not opportuned, you know. I reached out to some couple of producers. I remember going to Saz studio. I'm like, yo, boss, I would like to learn from you. And he's like, yo, yeah, you can always reach out, but you can't be a studio, you know, rat, you know. And so I always learned from home. I developed that idea of being a mobile producer because I learned from home, trying to go to one guy's hostel, trying to go to somebody's apartment, you know. So it's that opportunity I had because I didn't get the chance to bring them to the studio, but I took the music to them.
So you ultimately were an engineer, producer, everything.
I was just being that vibe guy, you know. That guy that will come and that guy's going to come now and will make music, trust me, you know. And they'll be like, we don't have to go to the studio, it's going to come right now, we'll do music. And you're like, are you serious? And that's how I met Zlatan and Naria Marley, you know, from that, you know, that mood.
Talk to me about, you said you went to live with your auntie in Abuja. In recent times, I've just started hearing names, you know, even from the likes of Techno Miles and, you know, a lot of names have started to creep out from that Abuja.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that scene. What or who did you kind of hear whilst you were there? What was happening in
While
Abuja?
I was in Abuja was not that place for music then. It's growing, it's getting better, but you will see a lot of creative people in Abuja, but they don't have that space to express. You know, they're just creative. So it was just people like Star Plus, Mekoyo, and some people back then. You know, it was just a few. They were not even cutting across Lagos. Just Star Plus was cutting across. So that kind of thing.
What was the first record that you made that you felt like, oh, you'd be like, say this thing.
The apple, no, it's going.
It's going.
Able God. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. That
Able
was
God.
you.
Able God. Yeah. That was it.
Talk to me about how that happened.
Able God. I was working with Zlatan at that period. I'm making some couple of jams like Jogo. We're just making street vibes. It was going a little. Then I was like, Zlatan, I'd like us to do something with Chinko. I would like you guys to do something together. And they were like, yo, we'll come. I think I was in school then. I schooled in Abuja, I schooled in Lagos, and I schooled in Ijebu-Ode. So when I was in Ijebu-Ode, I always come to Lagos like
regular.
So they said, come through. I went immediately, you know. I went to meet them in the studio. We went to chill out. So I remember that night, they tried to withdraw in the ATM, and it didn't work. You know? It will tell you insufficient funds. They're like, it's not fear, like my ATM, like, so like, no. So that thing it kept ringing in our head to went back to the studio. And once I started making the beats, I started saying that, I'm like, let's go, it's making sense. And
that was it.
That was it, you know. Took it to Kesh. Kesh was down. I'm like, Kesh, let's do this. And Kesh did it. So I was really just orchestrating that, yo, let's do this.
We
did it.
Putting the people together.
Yeah.
So not only did you produce, you also kind of like A&R'd it.
Yeah, man. That's just my vibe right from time, trying to get the right guys together.
There's one thing that's been, you know, consistent with Rexxie. When we hear the name, it's like the street sound.
Yeah, I know, right?
Where did that street sound come from? Or what inspired you to kind of make street beats and link up with the, you know, the rappers and musicians that make music in indigenous language?
Thank you. So yeah, like I said, I started from church, so I actually have the background of the music, you know, playing the keyboard, knowing the keys, knowing all that. But I remember making those kind of sounds then, and my senior brother would tell me then, I'll be like, yo, don't worry. The world will tune to a point where they'll start dancing to your music. I'll be like, okay. But then it was so slow. I didn't know how. But when I linked up with people like Zlatan, you know, I had a beat. Yeah, I had a beat. I sketched out of listening to Wande Cole and CDQ on TV. Then I was just coming back from an accident. I was just recovering from an accident. It was so bad. Yeah, like it's out here. And I was trying to just do something different. I sketched out the beat. So one day someone called me. I was like, yo, SI called me. I was like, yo, Zlatan's in the studio. He wants to work with somebody. Would you like to record? Just record. So I said, yeah. Being the mobile guy.
You can take your
picked
studio
up my
there.
bags, went to the hotel, met them there. So we did the song. I was not really cool with the song. I tried to add my stuff to the song. They were like, oh, that's nice. You actually had your stuff on the record. I'm like, yeah. I was just the vibe guy, you know. Then it was like, yo, do you have something else to play? I didn't have anything to play other than that beat because I don't make that kind of sound. Yeah. So I played it for him and the vibe was just feeling so right. And I Marley called him, video call. I was like, yo, this guy is good. And that was where I just decided no. Because I didn't have the chance for those top guys to hear me. These guys are giving the audience. You know, I had to key into that vibe. You know, I just stood there like, yo, this is a part. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to do it, you know.
So the fact that was an audience that you had, you just decided to develop that.
Yeah, because it's big. You know, me coming from school hearing street music, it was always delivered in the most messy way. You know, the beats are not really well structured. So I feel that's a niche I can actually capitalize on. And yeah.
How important is it for anybody to find their niche and really develop and hold on to that?
I believe you want to stay long in the game, you know, longevity and all that. You need to have a niche, you know, and yeah, it's good.
Well, your partnership with Zlatan spawned Hit Records. Then obviously your partnership with Marley has become legendary.
Oh my. Yes,
with Naira Marley, it felt like you guys came from the same world. When did you realize that you had the perfect sound for Naira and Naira had the perfect sound for you?
Okay, first of all, I didn't even know who Naira was.
Talk.
I didn't even know who Naira was. I just knew they said this guy is from London, is a G and all that. I'm like, so I remember going to see it the first time. I was scared.
Malians.
You know, I took my system, set it up, went out. I just took a deep breath. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do today? So I went there to feature Marley on the song. Marley jumped on the song. We're waiting for Kesh. Kesh was a bit lazy and tired, and they were like, "Yo, I want to rest." So he rested. So during that whole night, now I was like, "What do you have for me?" And I played the first beat I played. You know, I didn't want to play for him.
Yeah.
So I played a beat that sounded UK-ish, and that's Jackpa. And once I played the beat, it just started vibing. I'm like, okay. He said, "Give me the mic." I don't heard you, bro. I didn't even know you're trying to sing. We just took the mic and we just. And once I increased the volume, right, like, he's hitting. It didn't feel right at first when I just played like, okay, we have something, yo. You know?
That was a crazy record.
And we did more songs that day, you know, just kept recording. He called me back, started doing more stuff, and he believed in me, yeah. And that's what really helped.
How important is belief? Having for young producers or even musicians or talents in the creative industry to have somebody that actually not only identifies you as somebody that's talented, but believes in what you're doing.
Yeah, it keeps you wanting more. It keeps you working. It keeps you on your toes, because you know there are people that you don't want to disappoint. You know,
Facts.
and that's what that phase gave me. Like, yeah, it's going. It gave me that it's going vibe. Keep working. Keep going. People at your back. Back-to-back
hit records. Then you started expanding into the Malian camp, working with the likes of MohBad and every other person.
Mm-hmm.
Your first album, your debut album, dropped last year, had some of the biggest artists on there, from Davido to Naira, Marley to this to that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the biggest records of the last 2 years, KP freaking K.
Cool Podcast.
Whose idea was that?
Okay, at that period, yeah, the word KPK was already trending on the streets. You know, like I said, I've always been this street guy. I'm not on the streets, but I love the streets. I'm always connecting with them, you know. So I've always heard KPK, but I didn't even know what. I just knew this was a vibe. So I remember working with MohBad. The next day after my birthday, that was 11th of November, he just called me, he's like, in the studio. I'm like, yo, I'm not even around, I'm coming. He wanted to work on this EP. He had like 3 songs. Man, I went through a lot. I don't want to start saying lots of stories, but
please share.
Okay, my system really embarrassed me during the pandemic. It spoiled. I lost a lot.
Data.
Oh my! So that period, I was just remaking stuff, remaking. I didn't want to send the bad news to them. So rather, I tried to remake almost everything. So when I sent some to them, they'd be like, "Yo, it feels different. It feels different," and it was really depressing. So MohBad came there. He's like, you know what? Let's try and sort this out. He had one song. Man, bless Davido. I keep saying Davido. I have to just, you know, he had one song with Davido and another song with another song, and it's like, yo, he wants to work on it. So I came to the studio. We did the 2 songs, and the energy was just different. You know, when you come to join, you see your artist feeling so down, and it's like, Rexxie, man, I think we should use the demo the way it sounds like. When an artist says that, it means that
they're not happy with what they've heard.
Yeah, and I felt like I went from scratch again in his front.
That we're not using this.
Yeah, man, that was the energy, and I felt that's where the whole thing came from, because we did the 2 songs, boom, and it was so satisfied to the point it's like, let's do something new. And I'm like, let's go. I decided the beats. And that was what came out from the man at first, you know. It was like, Cool Pocket, who says no, you know, just singing like that. He just did a freestyle. That's why I was so short. He did a freestyle and left. I called him like 2 days after. I'm like, yo, this is a hit. He's like, oh, the Davido jam. No, man, the third one we did is bad. You should even know, man. I just worked on it, crafted it up, called him up, hear it. It was not even in sync with it yet until we did the official content video when we were vibing, like, wow, we've been dancing since. You know, we're dancing for like 2 hours, shooting a video. I was so free. Like, it's a hit, bro.
And your dance moves as well. You know, the fact that you...
It's a vibe, man. It's a vibe.
That also added, especially to the content video, I think, your dance moves.
At that point, we didn't even know, man. I was just vibing.
but that added a lot of gave it legs.
I realized.
Of course, the albums dropped. You had all these collaborators on there.
Yeah.
That's your debut album. The record with Oxlade.
Frenemies.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you plan the album, or you just decided I had too many hits in the laptop? Let's put it together as a project. Let's put this out.
Well, I've always wanted to have a project out, so I've always been on that motion, like, okay, I would have something. I had the EP out before then, but it was more like a street beats EP, a viral beat and all that. So I saw the effect, and I'm like, you could do better, So I always had that in mind. But KPK was not one of the songs I even thought would be, because imagine me having those names and me trying to drop a song with MohBad, So it was just a different experience. Like, I was on the album on the side, but when KPK came out, it's like, yo, let's drop this now.
No.
And it just raised the bar, like,
all time.
That was it.
Listen, since then, you've gone on to work with everybody else in the world, from Miss Banks in the I remember walking into Steph London when she pulled me at Whiskey show, and she said, I've got a record coming. Rexxie produced it, You should see the way how she was gassed. And that for me was a different kind of like proud moment.
Yeah,
to see someone so talented and to recognize, what you were adding to. What was it like when you get phone calls from the likes of Steph London, Miss Banks, These are UK artists that could have gone into any other production studio in the UK. But they came to Lagos. I know Miss Banks was in Lagos. I know Steph was too.
Yeah.
What's that like?
The funny thing is, I didn't even get to meet her physically, when we did the song. It was just, I would say it's God, and right connects, everything just playing out right, and I was just playing according to the plan. Let me just put it like that.
Young Rexxie has produced now for Grammy-winning Burna Boy. You were credited on the album. Grammy-winning, legendary Angelique Kidjo. You're credited on that as well. Has it sunk in yet that you have received letters that states that you were part of a Grammy?
That sunk into my... It's sunk in.
Has the price changed?
The price keep going up, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man.
So when people come to you now for beats, it's not just me put 1, 2 lamba together. They'll speak to management.
They know. They know.
We heard what's his name? This producer in the UK, this top producer, saying he collects like 30 bags per production. Now, Shay, who producer is that again?
J5.
J5.
Yeah.
So if J5 is on 30 bags, Rexxie is a Grammy Award winning.
J5 is a big boy. He's a big man,
You're a big man. Lord Robert,
He's going.
You are a big man. So have we put a price to the beats yet, or it depends on who's calling?
Depends on who's calling. I don't try to be all bush and everybody. So I recognize acts, I recognize talents too. So it's not always about the business always come to play.
Absolutely.
I like to make the music come. Let it flow. But sometimes you just have to just let them know. Yeah,
straight away. This is how it is. Before we get into the final topic, I just wanted to ask this to you. I know you're part of the Malian camp and the Malian family. What is it like? How do you deal with being a part of a family that in some times you go through difficulties? Do you take sides? Do you try to bring everybody together?
I don't know. I don't really experience difficulties because I don't know. It's just vibes. It's good vibes. It's good vibes. Yeah, it's good vibes all the time.
Finally, I know the second project is coming. That means you made a lot of money on the first one.
It's going
for you to get into the second one.
Man.
Lead single featuring Skibby and Marley, titled
Abracadabra.
So very simple. And what is the next project called, and when is that going to be served?
The next project is called Big Time.
Yep.
Because we're going big on them right now. It's big vibes. Big on them.
Do you have a date for that?
Okay, it's dropping next year. I was to drop it this year, but the cloud is so much. I want to have that time, So yeah, Big Time dropping.
Fully recorded, or are we just wrapping up stuff?
I came to London to wrap up one or two records, do 1 or 2 contents and all that. So yeah, it's
is going.
It's going.
Listen, I think finally I have to say a big congratulations again to you for a young man coming from wherever you've come from. I'm just doing it, making a way for yourself, choosing a sound, sticking to the sound, celebrating the streets. That's one of the most difficult things to do within Afropop and other genres. Yeah. And you've done it successfully, and you are on the next level. You've reached the top anyway. You've won Grammys. So, you know, this is it. You know, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And what other message do you have for young producers and young talents, creatives that want to get into the business? What would you like to say to them to motivate them and kind of leave them with a word?
Keep going hard. You've got this, man. Basically.
Keep going hard. And you've got that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my special guest all the way from Nigeria.
Big
Rexxie!
Oh, God bless, man.
I appreciate it, man. Right.